This guide covers all the actions Rogue and Ninja learns from level 1 to 50 in order. We go over how each action is meant to be used and recommend ways to use it when relevant. In the summary, we'll cover a detailed attack rotation for use at level 50 that encompasses all of the things you learn throughout this guide. Now then, Spinning Edge is your starting weapon skill. It is the first step in a 3-step combo, more commonly called a 1-2-3 combo, so at this point you simply use it repeatedly. At level 2, you learn the ability Shadeshift, which puts a shield on you. Use it when you're actively taking damage or when you're expecting to take damage from a party-wide attack from a boss, for example. Note that abilities like Shadeshift can be used while the global recast timer from weapon skills like Spinning Edge is still active. Fitting abilities between weapon skills is commonly known as weaving, and you can typically fit between 1 and 2 abilities between 2 weapon skills. If you would like to know more about this subject, I have a short on the global cooldown and a short on weaving. At level 4, you learn the weapon skill Gust Slash, which is your step 2 in your 1-2-3 combos. At this point, you simply alternate between Spinning Edge and Gust Slash. At level 8, you learn the role action and ability Second Wind, which heals you for a significant amount. When in a group, it is recommended to only use Second Wind if you are the only one that needs significant healing, as otherwise, the healer will probably cast a party-wide heal anyway. At level 10, you learn the ability Hide, which makes most enemies ignore you, but also makes you move slower. Be aware that, unfortunately, this effect is immediately cancelled if someone in your party enters combat with a boss, and you cannot use it while in combat. Furthermore, bosses can see through your invisibility, so walking too close to a boss will also cancel the effect. You also learn the ability Leg Sweep, which stuns your target, which can stop enemies with telegraphed attacks with cast times. As a stun, it can also be used to help give your tank a bit of breathing room by stopping at least one enemy in its tracks for a bit. At level 12, you learn the role action and ability Bloodbath, which adds a life-stealing effect to your attacks. If you are actively taking damage or need a lot of healing over a longer period of time, then Bloodbath is likely stronger than Second Wind. And using both may sometimes be excessive and cause you to lack options later. At level 14, you learn the trait All Fours, which makes you take less fall damage. Take note that you cannot actually die from fall damage if you are not in combat. At level 15, you learn the weapon skill Throwing Dagger, which has a range of 20 yalms. Keep in mind that the base run speed is 6 yalms, meaning in the recast time of Throwing Dagger, you can run 15 yalms, significantly more if you sprint. As such, it is not always worth casting Throwing Dagger as you close in on enemies. However, if you're forced away from your target for a bit, you can cast Throwing Dagger to keep up some damage output. Throwing Dagger does not cancel your combos. You also learn the ability Mug, which does some damage and increases the damage the enemy takes from everyone for 20 seconds. You should make sure to weave this between your weapon skills on cooldown to maximize the value of the damage and the damage bonus it provides. It also has a bonus effect of sometimes making an enemy drop extra common loot if you use this action on them. However, this effect is not worth planning around, although it is interesting to know. At level 18, you learn the ability Trick Attack, which can only be used when affected by Hide, and does a huge amount of damage, even more if you use it while behind your target. It also increases the damage you do to the enemy for 15 seconds. Remember though, that entering a boss fight immediately removes Hide, meaning this action is only usable outside of boss fights at this level. It is still a good idea to use Trick Attack regularly when you can, due to the damage bonus and massive upfront damage it provides. At level 20, you learn the trait Fleet of Foot, which makes you always run 10% faster. This does not stack with any other movement speed increases, so Sprint still only makes you run 30% faster in total. At level 22, you learn the role action and ability Feint, which causes your target to do less damage for a bit, with physical damage being reduced twice as much. The best time to use Feint is when you're expecting a large amount of damage from an enemy, especially if you know it will be physical. Good examples include when a boss is casting a party-wide attack, or a large strike on the tank. At level 26, you learn the weapon skill Aeolian Edge, which serves as the combo finisher for your 1-2-3 combo. It also does significantly more damage when used while behind your target. At level 30, doing your class quest line will eventually lead you to the Ninja quest, which is available once you complete the main scenario quest, Self-Management. Once you unlock the Ninja, remember to equip your Soul Crystal to change into the Ninja job. The Ninja starts with 2 actions. The first is the ability Ninjutsu, which fires off whichever ninjutsu you have currently done mudras to activate. The second action is the ability Ten, which is a mudra used for ninjutsus. There are no ninjutsus that require the same mudra to be done twice, and as such, you have access to just one ninjutsu. The first ninjutsu, Fuma Shuriken, does a large amount of damage at range. An odd thing about the ninjutsu and mudra abilities is that they incur global recast timers just like weapon skills. These global recast timers are significantly shorter than the regular global recast timer though. You want to make use of ninjutsu as often as you can to get the most damage out of it, as it is your most powerful option. It also does not break your combo. Keep in mind that you have to perform your mudras and then ninjutsus uninterrupted by any other actions, otherwise your Fuma Shuriken is replaced by a harmless, but very adorable, bunny in a black mage outfit. A few other features about ninjutsu. You can hold up to 2 charges of it at a time, but only 1 charge will cool down at a time, so every 20 seconds you will get 1 use, but you could wait 40 seconds and use 2 back to back. Also, using hide will immediately give you both of your ninjutsu charges back. As such, if you are ever out of combat and are not at full ninjutsu charges, you should hide. You can cancel hide again by right-clicking the buff in your buff list, which I highly recommend you do. As Mug increases the damage your target takes, stockpiling a charge of ninjutsu when Mug is about to be ready can be beneficial. At level 32, you learn the role action and ability Arm's Length, which makes you immune to most knockbacks, and also has the additional effect that if an enemy swings at you, it reduces their attack speed for a while. This is a very strong defensive tool if you need it, so consider using this ability when you're targeted by enemies, especially if the tank dies, for instance. At level 35, you learn the ability Chi, which is a mudra for ninjutsus. This gives you access to 2 new ninjutsus. If you use Chi, then 10, ninjutsu turns into Katon, a fireball attack that does a large amount of area of effect damage, or AoE for short. If you use 10, then Chi, ninjutsu turns into Raiton, a lightning strike that does a huge amount of single target damage, even more than Fuma Shuriken. Using just Chi still results in Fuma Shuriken. For single target, you should use Raiton, but for 2 or more targets, you should use Katon. At level 38, you learn the weapon skill Death Blossom, which is an AoE attack that is better than your 1-2-3 combo when there are 3 or more targets. Simply use it repeatedly, and remember to use Katon as well in those situations. At level 40, you learn the ability Assassinate, which does some damage, but also sticks you to the target for a moment. You should use this on cooldown, however, whenever possible, you should make sure to use it after Mug to benefit from the damage bonus. You also learn the ability Shukuchi, which lets you quickly teleport to anywhere within 20 yalms. Many players prefer to use a macro to cause this action to teleport onto a target of their choice, as this makes it quicker to use. Under character configuration, you can also enable the 2 options Limit Ring Movement to Targeting Range and Press Action Twice to Execute, which allows you to press the action keybind twice to immediately teleport as close to where you're currently pointing as possible. At level 45, you learn the ability Jin, which is another mudra for ninjutsus. This gives you access to a whopping 4 new ninjutsus, not to mention that all of your previous ninjutsus gain an additional sequence to cast them. What ninjutsu you cast is determined by the last mudra you used before casting, alongside the number of unique mudras you used leading up to it. This means, for example, that Katon is always cast by using 2 mudras total, but finishing with 10. Let's take it from the top. Raiton is activated with 10 Chi or Jin Chi, and is still your strongest option for single target damage. Katon is activated with Chi 10 or Jin 10, and is still a strong option for 2 or more targets. Katon is activated with 10 Jin or Chi Jin and does much less damage than Raiton, but also binds your target, which may occasionally be useful. At higher level, you will eventually learn a trait that makes this ninjutsu strong under certain circumstances. Katon is activated with Jin Chi 10 or Chi Jin 10 and applies a buff to you that reduces your global recast timer by 15%. You have a special gauge that tracks this, so make sure it is always active. Given that recasting it resets the duration to 60 seconds, you may sometimes want to sit on one of the uses of ninjutsu for a few seconds to make sure you reapply Katon as late as possible without ever letting it drop. To put it into perspective, having Katon active translates to about 17% more damage done from your weapon skills and auto attacks. You can use Katon followed by Hide before a fight to start with it active for free. Katon is activated with 10 Jin Chi or Jin 10 Chi, which deals 80 potency of damage in an AoE up front, followed by 6 ticks of 80 potency over time, 1 tick every 3 seconds, adding up to a total of 560 potency. This means that on 2 or more targets, Katon is your strongest ninjutsu, assuming the enemies stay within for the full duration, and so should be placed and kept active in situations with 2 or more targets. Make use of the fact you can stockpile a ninjutsu to be able to keep Katon running. Take note that using hide immediately removes Katon, so you cannot use Katon followed by hide. Suiton is activated with 10 Chi Jin or Chi 10 Jin, and in addition to doing a respectable amount of damage, applies an effect to you that allows you to use trick attack as if you were hidden. You should use Suiton followed by trick attack whenever trick attack is available. When possible, use Mug before trick attack. Take note that the buff from Suiton lasts 20 seconds, so not only can you stockpile ninjutsu charges leading up to trick attack, but you can use Suiton up to 20 seconds before you intend to use trick attack, allowing you to possibly fit an extra ninjutsu in the buff. However, as you will need to use Futon once a minute and trick attack once a minute, you will only have one ninjutsu to spare to use Raiton with, for example. On 2 targets, once Katon is placed, Suiton with trick attack is better than Katon, even more so if you continue to attack the trick attack target. On 3 or more targets, you should use Katon once Katon is placed. To summarize, your ninjutsu charges priority is as follows. Keep Futon up. Use Suiton to use trick attack up to 20 seconds in advance, unless there are more than 2 targets. Use Raiton during the trick attack debuff. Stockpile 1 ninjutsu charge. Use Raiton before reaching 2 charges. On 2 or more targets, Katon takes priority over Suiton, and using Katon at all takes priority after Suiton. On 3 or more targets, using Katon at all takes priority over Suiton, but below Katon. At level 50, you learn the ability Kassatsu, which allows you to use a ninjutsu without expending a charge, and makes the next use do more damage. As the buff lasts 15 seconds, you can use Kassatsu a while in advance. On single target, use Kassatsu Raiton after trick attack, and it should be used after every trick attack. On 2 or more targets, you should use Kassatsu Katon, or if you don't trust your tank to stay in the Katon, use Kassatsu Katon instead. You also learn the role action and ability True North, which makes all attacks with some sort of positional bonus like Aeolian Edge and trick attack automatically succeed. I recommend using True North whenever you intend to use trick attack to make sure that damage lands. Now, to round off, let's cover an actual boss fight opener and rotation. Always make sure to enter a fight with Futon by using it, followed by hide. Cancel hide afterwards by right-clicking the buff on your buff list. Begin by using Jin Chi 10 Futon, hide, cancel hide. Optimally, casting Futon itself 8 seconds before combat starts. Then do 10 Chi Jin up to 6 seconds before the fight starts, and then at the latest, just before the ninjutsu runs out, use Suiton as you run towards the target, and then weave Kassatsu. Then use Spinning Edge, Weaving Mug and Trick Attack, then Gust / Weaving Assassinate, then use 10 Chi Raiton twice, then finish with Aeolian Edge. This then leads to the general rotation. The ninja rotation revolves completely around the burst of damage every minute, where trick attack maximizes your damage, and every 2 minutes Mug increases it even further. During this downtime, you simply repeat your 1-2-3 combos while making sure to fulfill the positional on Aeolian Edge. Make sure to reapply Futon as close to it running out as possible. It takes around 4 seconds from start to finish to apply. Suiton can be used up to 20 seconds before trick attack is ready, so if you already have one ninjutsu charge and are about to get a second charge, using Suiton early to allow the cooldown to keep charging is beneficial. Whenever trick attack becomes ready, you simply use everything you have in a similar fashion to the opener burst, using both Mug, if available, trick attack, assassinate and Kassatsu Raiton. For AoE adjustments, replace your 1-2-3 combo with Death Blossom on 3 or more targets. For 2 or more targets, make sure Katon is always placed and active, and replace Raiton with Katon. Kassatsu should be used on Katon. For 3 or more targets, replace Suiton with Katon as well. Remember, you can start every fight with Futon active and 2 ninjutsu charges by using Futon hide and cancelling hide. If you're playing with a tank that is actively avoiding your Katon casts, try to let them know what it is. It isn't very obvious. If that doesn't work, stay cool and simply use Katon instead. I recommend placing your mudras in a logical sequence such that you can more easily learn the muscle memory necessary to use the different ninjutsus, as this is by far the hardest part about learning the job. Be aware that attempting to use ninjutsus with a non-existing mudra combination, that is, by using any mudra more than once or weaving anything that isn't a mudra, will waste your ninjutsu cast and instead place a harmless black mage bunny on your head. Now, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me and my channel, you can like the video, leave a comment, subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when next I post a video. And if you want to give even more support than that, you can also become a member of the channel like these wonderful people here. Fun fact, Assassinate used to be an execution move that could only be used on enemies at 20% HP or less. It was later reworked in Shadowbringers to be enabled by using the Dream Within a Dream attack as an extra follow-up attack that was a guaranteed critical direct hit.